What's going on, everybody? It's Rick from Gardening with Barchuckin. I'm out in the garden today. I'm going to try to get this planted up. I'm going to do a mix of some seeds and some starts, and I figure I'll bring you along, show you what I'm doing. The varieties that I'm going for today is this Armenian cucumber, a bushy cucumber, and a pickling cucumber. I think I'm going to do the bushy one closer, the pickling there, and then the Armenian towards the back. So first things first, I got to move some of this asparagus out of the way. And I still have a mulch on top with the dried up leaves. So I need to pull some of that back now so I can get the seeds into the garden bed. I got a little volunteer tomato here. Man, there's some big chunks of the leaves. Ooh. Got a rock. Okay, so everything's nice and smooth now. So on the back of these seed packs, they're saying thin to 2 to 3 per group. And then this one is 6 per hill. Well, as you see, I'm not doing it in a hill or groupings, so I'm just going to go maybe with about a 6-inch spacing on everything. So I'm going to go bush first. I will plant 2 per area and then thin one of them out. And I'm just going, like I said, with like a 6-inch spacing. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll go with 6. Okay, so next is going to be my pickling cucumber. Oh no! As you see, it's a little breezy. Okay, so I got 6 there. And it looks like I'll get 5 out this way of the Armenian cucumber. Completely different looking cucumber seed than the other 2. I didn't have any tags pre-made, so I have a mark where my bush, where my pickling, and then the other side would be the Armenian. I'm just going to lightly rough the soil to cover the seeds. And then I have some worm castings that I'm going to add over the top of this planting zone. Okay, so first project in. So here's how my lettuce and peas are doing. I planted a Swiss chard there. I got a volunteer red Russian kale there. The freckled lettuce, a spinach, then my other sets of lettuce right here, and then I have some flowers for my peas, and then the other peas, I had some overflow, so I added some more brassicas back here, and then I have the arugula, which I started soil blocks for those, for these, for the spinach, and the freckled lettuce. In this bed, I'm going to go ahead and try for the first time some round zucchini, and I'm just going to plant a few seeds in, see how they do. I'm just going to go 2 per hole. Okay. Well, we'll see what goes on with the round zucchini. Okay, so here's what I'm going to try to fit between the 2 beds. We got a bunch of tomatoes going crazy. I got some herbs from Ag Day at the University of Delaware. When I was down at my brother's a few weeks ago, he picked up a bunch of plants. I have them to plant out. And then I have some other starts that I have going. So we'll see how everything goes. So I definitely want these. I have my Roma and my San Marzano, so I can make some sauce this season. And that's going right into this bed. And then I plan on getting a cattle panel to kind of help secure on this side and this side for the cucumbers. So we'll see how that works out. Okay, so I'll go for the old hoary. So I'll go for one plant there. Go for another plant here. I do have some bigger pieces of wood. When I dug and put this 4x4 post in, I ended up digging up some of the wood scraps that I had at the bottom when I first started this. Still finding some rocks. This first row is going to be my Romas. And check out them soil blocks. They did great. It actually joined up with another soil block. With this guy having two, and I'm in no need for extra plants at this point, I'm just going to use a set of snips and cut it at the base. So that guy's done. Trim off some of these lower branches. And then I'm going to plant it pretty deep in the hole. I don't want to cover it just yet because I want to add some compost to it. Vermicompost. Looks like this one is the biggest and the strongest. So like I said, I'm just getting rid of these other ones. Now, if I was shorter on plants, I would probably just separate these. I may even do another experiment here. I'm going to cut this guy here. I'm going to put this one in a cup of water and see how long it takes to get roots on it. Each hole is going to get a handful of the vermicompost. I got a little worm bin that I'm starting in here, so that's all can just go right in to there. And then now all I'm going to do is just backfill these holes. My next is the San Marzano. And actually now that these guys are planted, I can come back with some of that mulch and cover the soil for them. There we go. One important thing with tomatoes to help reduce the chance of blight is you don't want soil to actually be able to splash up on the leaves. So covering it up, and actually this leaf here is kind of low, so I'm actually going to just even get rid of that. So now there's less likelihood of any damage or disease if you have a decent mulch around the base of your tomato plants. Okay, and you see how we got a little yellowing of the leaf here. These guys basically needed to come in the get in the ground much sooner than this, but you know how time is. Okay, that guy's going over there. I'll get both of those guys. handful of the worm castings. That one looks like it's the bigger one. Okay, so I need to figure out where I'm going to be planting. I have nasturtium, dill, parsley, sage, and thyme. So I need to figure out where I'm planting that. My brother was pretty nice and picked me up when I visited him some peppers. So now I'm going to go ahead and plant them. I'll tell you the varieties here in a second. This one looks like it's gypsy. It says a frying pepper. Full sun, 60-day to maturity. There are some yellowing leaves, so I'm just going to snip them off. And it does have, it looks like some flowers that it wants to set. So I'm snipping them off as well. I'm doing that on both of these plants. Typically for the tomatoes and the peppers, you want them to focus on establishing those roots first before they try to set fruit out. Super nice soil right now. I don't know if you guys can see or tell. Roots are nice. I'm just going to rough them up a little bit. Nice handful of the worm castings. And then backfill. I'm going to take off these lower leaves as well. And then put that tag, so hopefully I'll be able to remember and find it. Yeah, you can see nice, very nice root system here. Is there? Yep, another little rock. Nice handful of the worm castings. This one is a sweet yellow bell pepper. Same thing, see all those little flowers? They are just getting snipped off. Roots are pretty decent. Starting, some of you could see was starting to spiral a little bit, but as you see, I just teased it a little bit and they just separate nicely. Handful of vermicompost. Once again, I don't like these lower leaves, so they're coming off. As I started moving these back leaves around, I came into an ant colony. Yeah, so I'm just going to finish removing these leaves, moving them back, and then water all this in and the cucumbers, and I'm going to be done on this bed for a little while.